So those are major red flags that we need to address at the school. So I just wanted to ask and kind of gather some suggestions or thoughts of an action plan that we can come up with. So in your opinion, working at the school, what do you see for teachers is like an issue with bilingual, either concerns with students or like with teachers and certifications or anything like that?
Well, I think that the biggest issue is having the bilingual teachers in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
So in our lower grade levels, we lack them.
Right.
So we don't have them, so they're suffering in the lower grade levels, which is that foundation.
And so you think that's affecting the
I think
students'
that's affecting the students.
learning levels?
Mm-hmm.
And what about the connection with teachers and the parents? Do you think that that has anything to do with the students' success in the classroom?
Well, yes, because then we have, as a bilingual teacher myself, I know that when some of my kids would go up to the next grade level and there was no teacher there, when the parents would come and talk to me instead of the regular teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
so there was that miscommunication already. You don't know what your child needs because you can't talk to that teacher.
Right. So not only is the concern with the teacher, it's with the parents as well, because they don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
They don't know how to help their child. So there's a lot of barriers going on there.
Yes. One
and
of the biggest barriers too is that our parents, our bilingual parents can't speak English, so
Right.
they can't help their children. So they have to count on that teacher.
That's true.
So then maybe one thing that we could consider is having bilingual families with teachers that are also bilingual. That way we're able to communicate with the families a little more and the students, and it kind of helps all around.
So kind of implementing the community, like having them, having like community events for like bilingual parents.
Offering them classes.
Yes.
Yeah, to teach
Offering them classes to teach them how to get online, how to get on Canvas, how to get on the apps.
Strategies in class.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so since we covered like overall environment of the classroom, what do you think, like what programs or what professional developments could we offer to like the entire school just to be aware of like bilingual concerns or issues, and then the teachers in the classroom, what could we offer them? Like, do you think we need more resources? Like, is that the issue? Or what else can we do to like help fix that problem?
I mean, I think teachers need to be trained how to, I mean, like you said earlier, ESL training, but strategies, because I'm not bilingual,
Right.
so I've never been really taught the strategies on how to teach a bilingual student. And
Okay.
sometimes you get stuck in a class with bilingual students and you don't really know the proper ways to service them.
Right.
Exactly. Yes. So I think that our teachers need that foundation on how to work with those students. I think also that if our schools bring it to the attention of the entire school that this is happening, then maybe we could get more resources. Because we have the bilingual resources out there, but maybe they just don't know that we're struggling.
Right. And so those resources, do you think those resources, is there like not enough professional development on? Or do you think they're just like, there's too many resources to choose from that sometimes the teachers are just like, I don't know which one to choose, because, you know, teachers are having to get, have minutes for this student and for different programs. Do you think maybe it's just an issue with too many resources or just not enough, like professional development on those resources?
It's funny you said that because right now that's what we're going through in our first grade.
Okay.
So our first graders have all these Spanish apps that the children need to be on, our bilingual kids, but then again, the district wants you to be using these apps and we need minutes on this one.
Right.
So what we're doing is on Friday, we focus on certain ones in the lower grade levels, and then we do the district apps. So
Okay.
it's kind of hard because there's so many out there that they want you to use. And of course, we offer them at home. You know, the kids can do them at home. We've already offered how to do it.
Right.
We've offered that paper a few times this year. So hopefully that's helping.
Do you think we also are lacking like any manipulatives or materials or more visuals for those bilingual students? Cause you know, sometimes they maybe have too much visuals and not enough words, or too much words and not enough visuals. Do you think like maybe more materials, like more experiences for those specific students that the district or the curriculum needs to like bring about?
I think the manipulatives are there. The district's really good about giving all the kids the manipulatives that they need, because most of all, if a bilingual child needs a manipulative, most likely.
Just had an opportunity to speak with a few other teachers and members of our school, what do you think the strengths of our school that we can use to help create an action plan for the bilingual concerns? What do you think we have like as our strengths at the school?
Well, the strengths that we have right now at this school is that we have a few more bilingual teachers than other schools do, which is a good thing. We have them in the upper grade levels, which is really good because we still have bilingual kids there. And we have our parent liaison who is very much bilingual. We have our principal who is bilingual. We have our IC who's me, and I am bilingual. So we're up in the game already. So we're gonna be able to help those kids.
So I think implementing like all of our strengths first into the plan, and like just to let everybody know like this is what we're gonna bring to the table and this is what else we can do to help increase student success in bilingual program. I think that's pretty good. As far as like the planning of our action plan that we want to create, it's still pending because we're trying to create one. What do you think this pending plan will have an impact on our stakeholders? Like, what do you think the effect of our parents, our teachers, our students, what do you think, like our community members?
Well, anytime that you have a school community in the school working towards something, which is the bilingual students, so that we can close the gap there, that's a win already.
Right.
So when you have that already and you bring in the community and the community parents, the community itself, you know, our kids are gonna be successful in the long run, which the evidence shows that already.
Right.
Yes, we do have some downfalls, but you know, we also had COVID, so.
Right.
So I think that our kids are really well set right now.
Okay. So in the future, like in our planning, what other subjects do you think would we be able to implement to our bilingual action plan that'll help bilingual? Do you think it's more effective to kind of help them focus on reading first, or writing, or math? What kind of other subjects do you think we need to focus on?
Well, first of all, in order for a bilingual child to be successful, they have to be 100% on with their first language.
Mm-hmm.
Once they know their first language, it's easy to do that transition to the English language. So they have to know their first language first.
Right.
So you have to hit on them in the foundation with our littles. You have to hit that Spanish,
Okay.
and you need to give them all that Spanish that they need. Of course, we don't want them to forget their Spanish,
Right.
their first language. So that foundation is really important. So reading is the best way to go, because once we teach them reading, then we can make that transition, and it's easier. So when we do a lot of talking in pre-kinder and K3 or K4, then we're teaching them about their language, and then that transition is easier. So
Right.
I would say that it's phonics and phonics and reading to get these children going.
Okay.
Because math, of course, is universal.
Right.
So that's a lot easier for our students to understand.
Right.
So it doesn't seem, in all the years that I've taught, our bilingual kids don't struggle with math. They just struggle with the reading, with that transition. So getting those apps that they can do at home, which the
Right.
district already offers. We just need to make sure that our teachers are implementing them
Right.
in English and in Spanish.
Right. So, thinking about next year and how we can kind of further plan, do you think we should start a committee at the beginning of the year specifically for bilingual student need and concerns?
Of course, that's gonna be 100% for our students, because once we start that committee, then we're gonna be able to implement whatever it is we're gonna do, the action plan that we're gonna do, to get those kids going.
Right. And do you think, like, who do you think we could suggest to be on that team?
I would suggest our bilingual teachers, one from our littles and one from the older grade levels, and then we can also get our paras on board
Right.
that can help out, because you know our paras are really important. And of course our principal needs to be on board, and our parent liaison, because our parent liaison is that communication between our parents and our school.
Right.
So that would be a good committee.
And I think it would also be helpful to maybe have like a couple parents on
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Just
Yes,
to like
of course.
put their input, because sometimes they feel like they don't have a voice, and we, I think as you know, at the school, we want them here because we want them to know what's going on.
We want them to feel comfortable.
Right. So what do you think, how do you think this will improve our bilingual school culture if we start with this collaboration team at the beginning of the year?
We'll have more parents involved. We'll
Right.
have more parents involved, more parents asking questions, because when a parent is monolingual, they don't wanna come to the school because a lot of us don't know enough Spanish to talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you greet them at the door speaking in Spanish right away, they're gonna wanna come in.
Right.
You know, that culture is different now. Oh, they speak my language. I feel more comfortable. I can get the help that I need.
Right.
So yes, you know, that's really, really important.
And do you think, sometimes the students struggle with their teacher not being maybe with the same culture, familiar with their culture?
Very much.
Right.
Very much. And that's what we're seeing now. That's why the district is doing these centers, because that's what we're going through. We're going through where, yes, the teacher has ESL certification, which is good,
Right.
but still you can't speak that language, and yet you didn't live their life, you know, as a bilingual teacher
Mhm.
did, you know, because our culture is different from other people's cultures.
Right.
You know, our parents raised us differently.
And so, in continuing to go through our action plan, and I know like we're still changing it, but I know the district has been making changes and specifically putting bilingual students or designating bilingual campuses. How do you think that's gonna affect our district and our bilingual kids?
I think it's the best thing that the district has done, and that's just my opinion, only because I've seen it firsthand, where I've had to talk to parents that I had in first grade. I'm still talking to them in fourth grade and being that communication between those two, because the teachers couldn't speak to the parent. So what they're doing right now is awesome. It's going to be helpful with the parents, it's gonna be helpful with the student. All around, I think and you know, we're here for the students.
Right.
And when the students feel comfortable coming into the classroom because you can speak my language, I'm gonna flourish.
Yeah.
And so,
And when they have a whole school community where it's
Backing them
familiar,
up.
yeah, and they have that support, I think they're just gonna flourish. And I think
course.
all of those elements that they were concerned about or missing, they're just gonna, you know, only improve.
and grow, and then eventually we're going to be able to close that gap.
Yes, and
A lot
that's,
faster.
yes,
Mhm.
and that's my next question. So, what do you think the most important elements are gonna be to our plan for the bilingual, improvement of closing the gaps? What do you think is essential for us to include into our plan?
One, communication. Two, curriculum. We need to have that steady, hardcore curriculum that's going to work for our students. I mean, if you get those two things going, and of course, certification, teacher certifications are gonna be a big,
Right.
important factor.
And do you think, since this is not just a local school concern, it's a district concern, that's why they're making these changes, do you think it would be valid for the district to start mandating or making preferences for bilingual and ESL certified teachers in the future, like you would have to be
Oh,
certified?
definitely,
Right.
definitely. I mean, you can't go into a classroom and you're not certified to deal with those students, you have no business there, you know, and the district needs to make sure that our kids have everything that they need, and that certification is really, really important, whether it's ESL or bilingual.
Right.
And for any student, if you get Vietnamese, or you get, you know, somebody else from somewhere else, you know, you have to know how to teach them.
And I think also, like we had mentioned, having those classes for the parents, like they're not gonna be counted towards anything like college courses, but that's just gonna help bring those parents to our campus with our teachers to help, you know, just be aware of what's going on at school.
And I know that a lot of parents work, so they say they can't come during the day, because we used to offer classes, English classes during the day, and it was hard because they would work. So I think a lot of these classes also need to be offered in the evening.
Or also like on Zoom or some, like a
Right.
recording.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, like-
because it's so easy to do that now. You
Yes.
can be anywhere.
And you can be on your phone or listening in, like,
Right.
and so they'll have access when they're at home, cause a lot of these parents are working and they, like you said, they can't come.
They can.
So, any other suggestions do you think that would be helpful in putting into our action plan that we still are making changes to?
I maybe just making some home visits and letting
Oh,
the
home
parents
visits.
know that